We are back, Jeremy Sports Network, coming to you live. Hey, you guys, how's everybody doing? I mean, it's been a while on air, bringing you guys another video, another live video of Jeremy Sports Network. Man, I've been busy. I've been working. I've been grinding. I've been trying to make things happen here at Jeremy Sports Network. So, got a game on tonight. Boston Celtics taking on the Washington Wizards, which looks to be one of game for the ages. I believe after that walk-off win by John Wall and what he did in games when you thought the Boston Celtics had the game in the bag. All stepped up. Bradley Beal had a phenomenal game, and it was just a sight to see if you guys tuned in on last night. Now, let's talk about the Boston Celtics for a minute. And when we talk about the Boston Celtics, we want to talk about is really who's going to step up tonight. That's the thing that I'm worried about. I want to know who's going to step up, who's going to be that guy to help Boston get to where they need to be in order to take on. In my opinion, I believe Boston is the best team to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't believe that it's the Washington Wizards, because I don't think the Washington Wizards possess anything. They don't have any players, I would say, that could put bodies on LeBron and hold and control LeBron more like what Boston have. Like Boston have guys who's been up against LeBron in playoff situations, like Al Horford. You got Big Brother who will be able to slow down LeBron. They have helped slow them down. And good on their side is the fact that they're playing in a game 7, which they're already going to be in basketball motion. And we saw that on last night when you're sweeping through everybody in the playoffs, a la Golden State, a la Cleveland Cavaliers, you get rusty because you have time off. And that played a huge factor in what we saw on yesterday's game, in game 1 between the San Antonio Spurs versus the Golden State Warriors. And the reason why I say that is because the San Antonio Spurs took Houston in the 6 games, and guess what? They were playing really good basketball. We saw what they did in game 6 against Houston. And what they did in game 6 against Houston was very, 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 very pivotal, because the reason why I say it was because guess what? They was up by 20. They went up by 20 plus points on Golden State, and Golden State showed a lot of rust, and we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that, and we don't know that that's going to happen in game 1 between either Cleveland or Boston, or Cleveland versus Washington. But the thing is, we have to know, step up and play big tonight. In my opinion, I believe it's going to be Isaiah Thomas, man. This guy said he is prime. He's not afraid of anything at all. They asked Isaiah Thomas, how does he feel about this game 7? Is he under any pressure? And Isaiah stated that, hey, he's ready for this moment. He's been ready for this moment. This is what he's been primed and ready to do all his life. And is playing in a game 7 to take his team to the Eastern Confrence Finals. And I believe the Boston Celtics and Isaiah Thomas is going to do that on tonight. But John Wall will be coming, and we have to make sure that you're going to have to slow John Wall down, because they're going to get buckets. And I believe Bradley Beal, who had a big game in game 6, is definitely going to try to capitalize on what he did in game 6 as well. So you have to make sure, if you're the Boston Celtics, that you slow John Wall, because he's going to be coming on tonight. Now, another key guy who's going to play a major factor in this game, I believe, is going to be Al Horford. Al Horford, what he's going to need to do in order for him to get to to some points and get to the line is that he's going to have to dominate and control the paint. We seen them get Washington in foul trouble early, and which put Gortat on the bench. So that has to play a major in them getting the ball down in the post. Avery slicing to the basket, creating fouls, and situations for his team, which I believe he's going to do as well. Avery Bradley is the X factor in this game. Yes, I'm sitting here giving peace to Thomas, but Avery Bradley, has he not been an MVP of this series? If Boston Celtics, has he not been an MVP for the Boston Celtics in this series? Not only him, but the team as a whole, they have stepped up, and players have stepped up when it counted most for Boston Celtics. Now, the only person that I am worried about tonight, like I said, is John Wall, because John Wall has been doing this all year long, balling all year long, and he is going to be ready when he take on the on tonight. So I want you guys who are tuning in now to go into the live chat feed, engage into what's going on. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It helps with the visibility of the show. And we want to get a few people chiming in and telling us why they feel as though their particular team or what particular win tonight. Why Boston is going to win tonight. What is the reason on why Washington is going to win tonight? So I need everyone to go ahead, get in our chat, and start telling us why you feel as though the Boston Celtics may win this game on tonight. And another thing is that we're going to get into the numbers. We're going to talk about going to score what, who's going to do, what's going to be the certain situations in order for these teams to win. We're going to talk about that. But what we're also going to talk about is the coaching. Play a huge factor in what's going to be going on tonight. And the thing is, we have to make sure as basketball fans that you really sit down, watch, and analyze how the game is going, because guess what? However you perform as a head coach in this game 7 right here, be a stepping point happen in game Eastern Confrence Finals for either coach, Scott Brooks, or who's coaching the Boston Celtics. It's going to what you do in this particular game alone to see that you're going to be able to do in a game 7. Versus the Cleveland, not the Cleveland Cavaliers, but versus the Washington Wizards or the Boston Celtics. It's going to play a huge factor. And so what you want to do if you're – these are the keys to victory for the Washington Wizards. If you're Washington Wizards fan, this is what needs to do in order to win. We're thinking, well, it's going to be John Wall having to do this, and John Wall is going to have to do that, and all this, that, and the third. No, my friends. That's not what it's going to have to be in order for them to win the game. John Wall don't have to do anything outside of what he's already been doing to win this game. He's been averaging over 23 points per game. He's been shooting 45% from the field, 80% from the free throw line. So we know what John Wall is going to do. Now, Martin Gortat, on the other hand, he is going to be an X factor for the Washington Wizards. He's going to have to play big. He's going to have to play very big in order to win this game for them. That means he's going to have to get on the glass. He's going to have to do things to where he gets his team extra possessions with the basketball and to be able to. They're going to have to dominate the game in rebounds, because guess what? If John Wall is not knocking down those key shots, if Bradley Beal is missing those key shots, if they opportunities, second and third chance opportunities, and they get rebounds, then guess what? Better for Washington more so than it does for Boston. Boston is a smaller team, can have down in the post. So rebounding is going to play a major factor in this game. Now, outside of that, John Wall do what he has to do. He's averaging a double-double. He's averaging over 10 assists a game. But that 23 and 10, that's going to be very pivotal tonight against the Boston Celtics. Wall going to have to play big, and Martin Gortat is going to have to play big, but they're going to need a second and third scorer to help them get over the edge against Boston tonight, because I believe Boston being at home with that home crowd, with the tradition that they have, and playing in Game 7s, I believe the Boston Celtics is going to cause a lot of problems for Washington, but they're going to have to get off onto an early start. Now, Boston is the favorite to win this game by 5, according to Vegas. They do have Boston winning this game. So if you're betting right now, if you're betting on Boston, your chances are looking really good from having a 5-point spread against Washington. Can't count out the Wizards on tonight. Now, if they do get off to a slow start, I don't think that they'll be able to cut whoever gets off to a fast lead. I believe they're going to put the foot on the gas, and they're not going to let up, because they are going to try to push them teams and propel their team into the Eastern Confrence Finals, and it's going to be a good one. Now, when we talk about the Boston Celtics, you got Isaiah Thomas averaging over 28 points per game with five assists, so he's 28 and 5. But if you're Al Horford, guess what? Al Horford, you need to play bigger than you have before on the boards, with not just averaging 6 rebounds, but guess what? 5 of the 6 rebounds that you are averaging are defensive rebounds, which is good. But if your team is not making shots, we need you on the offensive boards. Boston is going to need you on the offensive glass, and you're going to have to play bigger than you have before. You're going to have to you're going to have to get at least at best a 10 rebounds in this particular game if you're Al Horford. He has to. Al Horford has to step up and play very big in this game. Now, when you break down the Boston Celtics and what it is that the Boston Celtics do offensively, they love to run the pick and roll, but you also have, if you really pay attention, you have Avery Bradley, who steps up and make big shots, key shots at that. He can create his own shot off the dribble. You have Jay Crowder, who plays tremendous defensively, but what he has to learn is he has to take really good shots when it's time for him to take good shots. You can't just throw up shots if you're Jay Crowder behind the 3-point line, because that hurts your team. Because all that does is give John Wall the ball, and he's able to push the offense at a fast pace to where he's the fastest guy on the court. So if you can't keep up with John Wall and he's getting off and getting easy buckets on fast breaks, then guess what? That serves better for Washington than it does for Boston. So if you're Boston, you have to make sure each shot you take is within the shot clock and it's a high percentage shot. You can't continue to take low percentage shots if you're the Boston Celtics and think you're going to win this game. That's not going to happen. That can't happen at all. It can't. It can't. But if you're the Washington Wizards, you know what Washington's going to do? They're going to play Washington basketball. They're going to feed the ball into the post. John Wall is going to get inside the perimeter shooting 18-foot jumpers, 15-foot jumpers. What he needs to do that's necessary. Where they're going to be shooting at in the perimeter is going to be coming from either Brandon Jennings or Bradley Beal. John Wall will hit threes if he need to, but it's not going to be a necessity for him to do that, because he's going to do what he's been doing all season, and that is getting to the basket, slicing and dicing to the hole, running the pick and roll offense, and that is what Boston is going to have to slow down and stop and slow down that offense. And we've seen Boston do it before to win a few games, and that's slow down the offense of the Washington Wizards and make it stagnant. Make it stagnant to where they're playing a lot of ISO basketball. And when they're playing a lot of ISO basketball, you know who that serves in favor of? That serves in favor of the Boston Celtics. Because now you have John Wall, who's figuring out he's going to do a lot of dribbling. He's figuring out what he's going to do in order to get the ball to whoever he may need to. And if not, He's just going to take the shots himself. So if you're Boston, you want to make sure you slow down that offense in Washington Wizards and make them stagnant. And if you're Boston, run your offense through Isaiah Thomas and Bradley Beal. Run that pick and roll. Hit Al Horford for the 18-foot jumpers. You're going to have to do what's necessary for you guys to win the game. And that's going to be very pivotal in Game 7. We're going to see the best of the best come out and ball on tonight between these two teams. And I believe the winner of this game, which will be the Boston Celtics, in my opinion, my personal opinion, they're going to pose somewhat of a threat to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the only reason why I say they'll pose somewhat of a threat to Cleveland is only because they have the better matchups. We all know what the playoffs is all about, and that's about matchups, right? So if the playoffs is all about matchups, then guess what? Who serves the better matchup for the Cleveland Cavaliers? If you're tuning in right now, go down in the live chat. Make sure you tell me who do you feel as though going to win Game 7 on tonight, whether it's Boston, whether it's Washington. Put it in the live chat so we could get this thing going and talk about what's going to happen. Now, make sure you hit that thumbs up. It helps with the visibility of the show, and subscribe. Because not only do we talk basketball here, but we also talk a lot of boxing here as well. But like I said, on tonight, it is going to be a fantastic night of basketball because after tonight, on Tuesday, we are going to see Game 2 of the Golden State Warriors versus the San Antonio Spurs without Kawhi Leonard or Tony Parker. So this is going to be a very interesting going down the stretch in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. Who's going to pose a threat to Cleveland? Who's going to challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers? Is Boston built up to challenge Cleveland? Is Washington built up to challenge Cleveland? Those are questions that you have to ask. If you're tuning in right now, go down in the live chat, and I want you to tell me who's going to win on tonight. That because everybody that I know is saying Washington is going to win. You only have a slight few who's thinking that Boston is going to win this game. A lot of people don't believe in Isaiah Thomas, and I've been standing up and preaching for Isaiah Thomas to have a hell of a game throughout the playoffs, and he's done it time and time again. Now, the thing is he going to do it when it matters most, and that's in Game 7 on tonight. That's what we're worried about tonight. Is John Wall going to be built up to have another prime game like he did in Game 6? John Wall had a hell of a game in Game 6. The walk-off 3 to win the game. You think that momentum is not going to carry over into Game 7, even though they are in Boston? It's going to be a lot of pressure on the Boston Celtics. Now, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a lot of pressure on the Boston Celtics. But the thing is Boston going to be primed enough to win? A lot of people don't like John Wall. They're in the chat right now saying John Wall sucks. But you can't. The only reason why people say that is because, guess what? Maybe he put their team out. They may be fans of another team. Who knows? But you can't discredit what John Wall has done all year long. He's averaging a double-double right now in the playoffs, 23 and 10. So how could he suck? Those are the things that I don't understand. If you're basketball fans, you have to appreciate what it is that we're getting from the game right now. We have to appreciate what LeBron is doing. A lot of people who don't like LeBron, they criticize and talk about LeBron and everything that LeBron does. But guess what? We have to appreciate that as basketball fans. And what we're going to get tonight at 8 o'clock, we have to appreciate that. We have to. We have to appreciate the walk-off threes like we saw in Game 7. We have to appreciate what we're going to see and what we saw in Game 6. I'm sorry. We have to appreciate what we're going to see tonight in Game 7, whether it's Isaiah Thomas who have a big game, whether it's Al Horford who has a big game, Jay Crowder, whoever. Avery Bradley, Bradley Beal, whoever has the big game tonight, we as basketball fans have to appreciate that. So like I said, it's going to be very interesting going down the stretch on who is going to win on tonight. Now, like I said, I'm going to state my pick. I have the Boston Celtics. I have Isaiah Thomas being one of the key factors in this game. But my X factor in this game alone will be none other than that guy, Avery Bradley, who's been playing tremendous. And he has been on the block, holding it down defensively and knocking down big time shots. Will he show up tonight and be big tonight? Absolutely. I don't see anything stopping Avery Bradley from doing what it is that Avery Bradley needs to do. But, you know, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. We're going to have a good one tonight. So this is Jeremy Sports Network. I am signing out. I will be back tonight for a live immediate reaction show on this game in particular, on who will be going to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. So tune in. This is Jeremy Sports Network. I'm signing out. Peace.